Okay, so Google just renamed NotebookLM into Gemini Notebook. And on top of that, they also added a new feature called code tools or code execution. So essentially, this is a tiny environment that AI can use to generate codes, execute codes, run some terminal commands, or use some Python libraries. And essentially, it lets AI to do or create something beyond what's usually possible in Gemini Notebook or NotebookLM. So essentially, it is just a tiny computer that AI can use to make itself even more useful. One example that I have created is this markdown document, which is a format that you cannot create right away. You can chat with AI, you can create a PowerPoint document, you can also generate an audio overview, a video overview, but a particular document format is not something that you can do before this new code execution feature. But fortunately now we have this brand new feature, and originally it was only available to Google AI Ultra subscribers, but now it should be available for Google AI Pro and maybe some lower tiers or even free users. I'm not quite sure about that, but I think it usually will be available to even more users after several weeks or months. So yeah, so these are some examples that I have created or generated using the code execution environment in Gemini Notebook. Now, I'm going to show you some examples that you can create using this brand new feature in Gemini Notebook. So I will start a new notebook. I'll just navigate to notebook.google.com and I'm going to start a brand new notebook. Let's say for this particular demo, I want to learn about what's causing the recent price hike of computer chips and memory. Let's use the web search and fast research mode. Send a message and just wait for AI to gather some resources from the internet. Of course, you can always upload your own documents. You can upload a PDF document, an Excel file, a PowerPoint file. You can do so, but I'll just rely on the data from the internet. And right here, you can still generate documents like flashcards, data table, mind map, slide deck, etc. But I want to create something else. So let's say for this particular example, I want you to use your code execution environment and generate a very concise summary in a PDF format for this topic. Okay, so that is my prompt. I explicitly mentioned that I want AI to use code execution environment. You don't have to do that. Usually if you are telling AI to create something, it's usually able to think deep enough to decide that, hey, this particular request might require a code execution environment. It needs Python. It needs to use some libraries out there to actually do the job, and it will automatically use that feature. Now, I'll just send the message and just wait for the result. So sometimes it might be asking you for a confirmation or approval, like it's going to give you the general overview, but then it's going to ask you again, can I proceed? If you say so, then you can just tell AI that yes, you approve it, and then it will start creating the content. So at the moment, based on my readings, the AI model that is being used by Gemini Notebook is called Gemini 3.5 Flash, which is a decent model. It is definitely not the top of the line model from Google. It's not even close to the quality of Fable 5 or GPT 5.6 Sol or even some older models. I think Gemini models are decent, but they're not the best at the moment. But Gemini 3.5 Flash is very, very fast, and also it is quite capable for this simple task. Okay, so this is basically some confirmation request. Okay, does this structure and focus work for you? I think I'll just say yes, please create the document. Okay, I only got 7 sources because the other 3 are not quite accessible. This is actually quite a common problem if you are using Gemini Notebook. I actually have made a video on how you can tackle this problem when the resource is not available or cannot be accessed by AI. That's usually because of the proxy problem, and that's something that is quite easy to solve. You can check my other video if you want to learn more on how you can fix this problem in NotebookLM, or right now it is called Gemini Notebook. Okay, I got an answer. I'm having trouble responding right now. Well, let me try it again. I think that's likely because of the high usage limit. I mean, there are many people using this platform at the same time, so yeah, that can happen from time to time. But anyway, it is still doing its job, so I'll just skip a while and I'll show you the result and some other cool things that you can do with this feature. Okay, so it took several minutes, but now I got a PDF document. All the content that was created using the code execution feature should be available on the right side of the screen on this sidebar. So you can see that there is a new PDF document. And okay, I can see that right here. So this whole thing was created by the code execution feature in Gemini Notebook. Yeah, I think it is pretty good, and also it created this chart, and again it was created using code execution. I think there is actually a step that specifically mentioned that it created a chart, and that uses a different library in Python. So yeah, I think yeah, I just created that. It's somewhere in here. You can actually see the whole thinking process. Okay, now I'm going to create something new. I have another notebook that talks about this topic, essential advice for launching a successful YouTube channel. Now I'm going to send a simple prompt. I just want to create a PowerPoint document using the code execution feature. I think I'm going to mention that feature again. I use code execution. There we go. Then the message. Now this is different than the regular slide deck feature on Gemini Notebook. So if you're using slide deck, it would generate a bunch of slides, but they're essentially just images. I think they're using Gemini Nanobanana 2, and it was great, but the content is not exactly editable because it is just a picture. Whereas this one, I want to create a native PowerPoint document. It is going to be a .pptx document, which means I can open it via Google Slides or Microsoft PowerPoint, and I can easily modify the content. So that's the idea behind this prompt. Anyway, I'll just skip a one and I'll show you the result once again. Okay, so I got this pptx document. Now, one thing to note about the documents that were generated in Gemini Notebook is some document formats are not directly accessible inside of the platform. So you cannot open it like the PDF document. You can easily preview that directly inside of this website, this web interface, but document like pptx is not something that you can open right away. So you need to download the document first, and then you can open it using your computer, using Microsoft Word. And there you go. So this is the document. It's definitely not as pretty as the slide deck feature, which uses Gemini Nanobanana for image generation, but I think with a decent prompting, with a more specialized or specific prompting, I think we can get something that is even more prettier. But at least this document is fully editable because this whole thing is just a bunch of text, and you can easily modify them. You can easily put them into let's say Google Slides, and I think it's just much more convenient if you need something that you want to iterate as quickly as possible. And here I also tried something else. I created a CSV document based on this notebook about Nanobanana image generation prompts. So I created this CSV file, but similar to a .pptx document, it is not something that you can preview. You need to download the document first, and you can open it using Microsoft Excel, for example, and you'll see the result. So this was created by the code execution in Gemini Notebook. And these are just some simple examples of the things that you can do. You can create documents, you can even put the document back into the source if you want to. It's quite possible to, you know, create a document and then put that document back as a source in your notebook in case you need that feature. But anyway, that's basically just the general overview of the new code execution feature in Gemini Notebook, also known as NotebookLM. So I hope you learned something from this video, and if you want to see some really cool AI use cases, then you can subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you on my next video.